Coming up this week on the Afro Journal.
Which gender is more toxic, men or women?
Oh, men, 100%.
Peter, what about you?
100%.
Women are kind of crunched up together in terms of their toxicity. Like they have kind of similar levels, while men is like a whole ass range.
Women have moments. Men have life.
In my opinion, I look dead.
Sometimes you need to talk to your girl in an undertone to like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? You're not making
And
sense.
I'm going to do the same shit right back
Exactly,
to you.
do this.
Not that really Peter on this
50-50,
wavelength, to be
we could
honest.
go.
I'm not with Peter at all this wavelength. Peter, you're in that boat by yourself. What I'm saying, every point you're making right now is the reason why I think men have it easier, to be honest. But the thing is, we know that it's eating us and killing us inside, that no fucking woman actually wants me.
She want me. She want me. She want me.
Right, so even Peter, you said it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, when you're getting married, your wife is probably going to be in her 20s, no matter how old you are.
I'll be realistic. I'm going to be frank with you. Yes,
His wife is
definitely.
probably
I'm
gonna
being
be-
realistic. Bole has hit me before. Yes.
Peter, what?
Bole slapped me across the face, straight up.
Oh, well, but it is all you,
Straight
fam.
up.
So you said you had an example.
Yeah.
Can you give it?
Okay, so this happened with my ex. If you're watching this, I'm still low-key pissed about this because this shit was just some stupid, dumbass shit.
Yo,
Alright.
But
so I want to hear.
in a relationship, men lie more.
Nah.
In general, women lie more.
Nah, but like you girls, they say that, oh, I'm fine. While you're texting your girls, oh, this nigga just did this to me, I can't believe he. But you say that you're fine.
I mean, even if I say I'm not fine, you still won't do shit about it.
That's not true. If you're fine, we want to.
I'm
discuss
sorry,
with
I'm
you.
just going off.
You know,
I
I
trigger bullet got.
Yeah.
You motherfucking right. You motherfucking right, I'm bitter. You motherfucking right, I'm triggered.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Afro Journal podcast. It's your boy Peter Ikechukiyem Chibus Aliogo. Bombo clack on this beat. Bombo clack on this beat. Bombo clack on this
Bombo
episode.
clack.
Bombo clack on everything. You feel me? That
Energy.
Rasta man. Oh my God, I'm feeling the vibe today. Today is a controversial topic, but we shall be. You know, we're hitting it with energy first. You know what I'm saying? But cool down. No, they vex. All right? No, they vex. It's all fun and games on this episode. All right? But I'm going to be speaking some facts. But let our other host introduce yourself, man.
You already know who it is. Your chocolate melanin glazed donut queen. With some sprinkles on top today. Sprinkles on top because things are gonna get a little, a little sweet, a little salty.
Which one are
Some
you?
Sprinkles.
Which one are you? Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts?
She's
Dunkin'
dunking on us.
Starbucks.
Bringing in the facts.
Dunkin' Donuts all day, every day. America runs on Dunkin'.
Oh,
Ole,
boss.
I don't run on Dunkin', but if you buy me a donut, I'll take it.
Ooh.
Energy. And you know what is your spice boy? You know how we have spice girls, but I'm a feminist today. So it's your spice boy, Chisom AJ Kevin, Jeremiah Okafor. You see how I'm for the women, so don't cancel me this episode, I beg. Thank you very much. Appreciate.
You know, I don't get cancelled. Actually, no, I don't have. I don't know. Let me not say that. Before I actually get cancelled. No. I'm good. I'm good. I shall be respectful on this episode. Just know it.
We'll see that. We'll see.
All right. Another day, another Afro Journal episode, ladies and gentlemen. Another beautiful topic. You know the vibes. In today's episode, we have a very special topic. I shall just say the title, and Chisom shall do the explanation of what it actually means. But before we get into that, Chisom, what was the proverb for last week?
Sir. So the proverb from last week was, one falsehood spoils 1,000 truths. One falsehood spoils 1,000 truths. And it's kind of like, is a proverb about your reputation, right? Like, it takes years to build up reputation, but it only takes a moment to tear it down. That's why everyone is now scared of being cancelled nowadays. You know, it's kind of like you say one thing, boom, your reputation has gone. But obviously that's the extreme toxic side of it, but in the actual sense of the word, it's kind of like, make sure that you at least try to tell the truth at all costs. Even Jordan Peterson said in his 4 rules of life, try your best to tell the truth, but at least don't lie. That's the energy here. So hey, keep it 100, and that's what we're going to do in this episode.
Period.
All right. Sorry for shouting. For those who have sensitive ears, I'm so sorry. But I just had to enter, with the bang. But today's episode, The title is Gender Olympics. I don't know what exactly it means, but Chiso was one that came up with the idea. But I shall explain it. What it makes it means is that we're just going to have a discussion on both sides, men and women, and just going to have a battle on different topics that are heated within the community of those two sexes. You feel me? And just have a discussion about that. You know, all three of us can take different sides. You know what I mean? But you know, just follow the way we shall lead. All right. All right. Who wants to go first? I got it. Jesus Christ.
Got it.
Let me say it this way. Okay. So first question: which gender has it more difficult? Which gender deals with more shit, basically?
That's a good question, man. But you want to go first? I think maybe we should just give our rapid answers, and then we can start breaking it down. You know?
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna say men.
Men deal with more shit.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think men have it more hard.
Peter.
Wow. Chiso? Okay. Me? I'll say men have it more hard.
Wow. Honestly, I think women have it harder. To be honest.
Wow.
That's my opinion, yeah.
Really?
I think generally speaking, right, like all things being equal, women have it harder because I don't know, I'm just trying to think of like, I guess the cards that were all dealt, and I'm just like, if I had a real choice, you know, would I rather be a man or a woman?
I mean, that's a different question. I mean, you can have it more difficulty, but you might have more ability, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I get that.
I mean, it depends on which one. Are you willing to take the safer route or willing to take more risk?
Sure, that's
but with that risk comes better responsibility. You know what I mean? Yeah, so
that's a good point. But I mean, why I think women have it harder, right? Because I feel like a lot of the issues that men face, it's most of the time within our control to be able to come out of it. Most of the time.
I disagree with that.
I also disagree.
I would say personally that we actually, men and women are actually very similar with the kind of stresses that they deal with, but women have in general a drastically different approach to those kind of problems.
For example,
yeah,
you feel me? For example, is like depression. Women are a lot more open to seek help, as well more open to discuss it within themselves. You know what I mean? While men are, very like
they hide it.
They hide it. They're they're inwards. They're like they don't want to talk about it. I mean, we've all seen this within our male colleagues. You know what I mean? We're a lot more preserved in terms of expressing what we technically feel. You feel me?
Yeah. I mean, my counter to that would be the physical game, right? I mean,
physical game. What do you mean by that?
Like, kind of like,
can you?
Women are more predisposed to violence than men. You disagree?
I would disagree with that.
Why?
Yes, I'll say both men and women are predisposed to violence
at equal rates.
But women,
I don't have to go.
No. Let me just say my saying at equal rates. But the majority of the perpetrators are men. But both men and women get physically abused all the time. No, that's a fact.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? But I think women have it a lot harder because of their the physical advantage to men is a lot greater than men to men comparisons.
Right? So like, let's just say like I receive one thing and Bole receives the exact same thing. The impact that it has on Bole is a lot more than the impact that it will have on me, even though we're receiving the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? So in that case, but also knowing that at the back of my mind. Now I'm not arguing about like who does the violence more, right? I'm just arguing about the impact on the violence. Is heavier on women.
I mean, it makes sense
generally.
I mean, the impact would indefinitely always be heavier on the woman.
And that's something that is outside of their control. That's literally, and that's
something that's outside of their control.
I'll say men have it easier. I'd rather be a guy. Now, obviously, we're still more likely to go to prison. We're still more likely to die from violence. You know what I'm saying? All these things. But to me, it's still within my control to not go to prison for the most part and not be in a situation where I'm probably going to die from violence for the most part. At least in the West. I
personally still think that men have it difficult because of the position they are put in certain areas across the world. I mean, if you look at World War I, drafted, dying at 20, 19 years old, had no kids. They just sent you out to Vietnam to go fight wars. Like, look at Nigeria, you know what I mean? Like, look at the key decisions that were made for those people. All the people that were fighting were all men. You know what I mean? They had a few women fighting, but they were few to none. 99% of them were usually men that were fighting on these battlefields. And they're dying. I mean, those men had no choice. They were just following the instruction of a few leaders, which were majority men in those positions. So it's kind of sad. But it's just that both men and women suffer. It's just that men necessarily have the power of control. Like the people who are controlling are usually men because of the biological factors that are in place.
I just want to address that your point though about like, okay, you went back to Nigeria, went back to World War One, all that stuff, right? Like while men were being drafted for war, all that thing. But then in the same breath, right? Yes, that's a difficult thing. But then we know that in Nigeria, equality is not even anywhere near as it is in the West. Like in the US, like when it comes to like equality between the sexes, women are still kind of being suppressed and let's say oppressed. Look, I hate saying oppressed.
I would say everyone is oppressed.
Like we know that there's the conversation of gender inequality.
There's a difference.
Is definitely more significant in Nigeria than it is in the US. That's
of course, no.
But even though we're using that as an example, when we're like being drafted to war, doing all these things, right? So I feel like it kind of goes both ways in a way.
I would say that the more impactful one is actually for men, the psychological, not the physical. The psychological battle with yourself in terms of pressure of success, in terms of pressure of fulfilling this certain amount of degrees that keep on, increasing as you get older, can be mentally damaging. I know women have their own aspect of things, in terms of the beauty standard and stuff like that. But if you're born with it, you're born with it. All men are basically, except if you're born from a privileged family, which is like between 5% of people. You know what I mean? But basically all men are born at the same fucking, at the same level. And you have to add value, create value. You're not born with value, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to say that, beauty is a value. Let's be honest right there. Beauty is monetized for so many fucking reasons. So that's why OnlyFans is successful. That's why Instagram has so many, TD models and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Everyone likes beautiful people.
Don't hate me 'cause I'm beautiful. Don't hate me 'cause I'm beautiful.
So if you're born with it, it's valuable. But in terms, men don't usually have the ability to monetize their beauty, even though we all agree there are beautiful men out there.
Men are valued by their work.
Yeah, exactly. Majority of the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just the way I personally see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just different. Which battles are you preferring? I personally think the harder one is creating value for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the harder choice. But also, you also have to understand that the women who are not born with beauty values probably have it a lot harder, if that makes sense, in terms of finding a
partner. Have it more hard.
They do.
They definitely have it harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just different things because of in the men's area. If you don't succeed, it's kind of on your because of yourself. While women, it's just like, oh, game over for you.
I would say it's game over.
You're born, but
it's more. But
it's pretty much game over.
It more tends towards just game over. Because what I'm saying, every point you're making right now is the reason why I think men have it easier. To be honest, every single point you're making, because you're like, okay, we are judged by the value we create. Most of the time, we're not necessarily judged by our natural abilities or like things that we are just born with. To me, if I was judged by the things I was born with, it's almost like I'm praying to win the lottery. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like I'm praying.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
I say that is because like
I disagree with that.
I would rather have control of my life and more like so. It's like
you're a man. That's why you're saying that.
True, yeah. But what I'm saying is, I'll still rather, right? If I had the choice to pick, right, be in a spectrum where most of the things you are judged with is things that are kind of outside of your control, and most of the things I'm judged by are things that are within my control. I would much rather be a guy because I would much rather be in control. Things like getting pregnant, if I had the choice to pick, be pregnant or not be pregnant, women don't pick that. Obviously they choose when they get pregnant, but you can't be like, okay, my husband should help me out with the second child, let him carry the baby. That's all you, fam. For me, and that's something they're just born with. Me, I'm just like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just rather be judged. Now, even though we're not really judged by obviously our natural beauties, all that stuff, even though it might help, right? But I'd rather be judged by the works of my hand because I'm in full control of that. if it's just a case of like, oh, like, because I wasn't born with, I don't know, like, with 7 toes, they don't like me. I'm like, bro, like, like what am I supposed to do about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just, that's why all these like questions of beauty standards and all these things now come into play. So I'll just rather live in a world that I'm in more control of.
I mean, I agree. I'd rather live in a world I'm in more control, but I feel that it's way easier to, you know, if I would say being born with the statistics of being born with a lottery is kind of, you know,
is an example.
Not
bro.
True.
Don't go
because
too deep
I
into
would
the
say
example.
I would say that at least 30% of women are attractive.
Is it
30% of women you find on the street.
Honestly, I would
30% of women. 30% of women.
Like 80%. Like,
Yeah, 30%.
I was like 80%.
Okay. What did you say?
I find probably like 80% of women attractive.
That's cap. 80%.
You only find 30?
I'm saying attractive.
80% of women
I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying they are Beyonce's and Rihanna's. Right, but I'm just saying. I find 80% of women attractive.
They look good.
Nah. That's cap. Honestly, if we go to WPI and like the statistics, there are very few girls
that's a nerd school. That's
were within our circle.
First of all, and that's
they would say the same for the guys.
And exactly guys school.
But
that's you can't use WPI as a sample size because first of all, that's a male-dominated school. There are less women there, so you can't now use WPI to represent what society looks like.
Okay, yeah. I understand that, but even in secondary school, Chisom, let's be frank with ourselves. There were like at least 5 girls you found attractive
out of
the whole lot.
Attractive or standing out from the lot? Because those are 2 different conversations.
No, beauty. No, attractiveness is the basis of my argument.
Exactly. So like, if I find someone attractive, it doesn't mean that I find them like they're a 10 or a 9 or an 8.
Okay, I think we're going
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't take a lot.
My point doesn't really matter in terms of the broad scheme of things. But I feel that, let me go back. I feel that 30% of women, right, are attractive, right? Quote unquote, it can be even more. You say it's even more. That's perfectly fine. I feel that being a successful man is way harder than being the possibility of being an attractive girl. Would you agree with that? Being successful, and we know what being successful is. It's being a millionaire. Let's be okay. 6 figures, high 6 figures. Yeah. That is officially being successful. It is a lot. It's a lot harder doing that than being born.
Being an attractive woman.
Yeah. The statistics. I
agree with that.
I'm just trying to say,
born attractive.
So even though you say that you want it within your control, it's a lot harder to achieve that than the possibility of you being
but attractive. The thing is, we also need to realize that women's attractiveness also has a clock on it. Right, so no matter how attractive this woman is, she has a season where that attractiveness actually works for her, and that's also another emotional tool where it's kind of like, okay, I'm trying to pursue my career, I'm trying to hone my craft, I'm trying to be the best at what I have to do, but in the same breath, I better start finding a husband early. You know what I'm saying? I better start planning whether if I'm gonna have kids, I better start thinking about that early. We guys were just chilling. We have way more time to figure out the very important parts of our life, but women have a very short time frame to figure that out. And to me, even the psychology of that is already freaking draining. And the reason why women let me finish.
I would say the opposite is even more draining.
The reason why a lot of women are low-key even chilling, right, is because they don't even understand the gravity of what that is. So it's kind of like they're chilling like, I'm living my hot girl. No,
what are you sure about? I think they know. They just don't give a fuck.
I mean, if you know, you would give a fuck.
No, some people don't care.
So
what are you saying?
The reason why I'm saying that is this, like, okay, if I know that, it's kind of like they think the consequence of it is not as high as it actually is.
But the
consequence of what?
I disagree with. I disagree with that. I mean, I think they understand the consequences. Most women understand the consequences, but they realize that there are certain values in current society that allow them to abide, like shift away from that or push it down the line, if that makes sense, or even disregard it completely. I mean, that was the whole push for feminism in the first place. So you know what I mean? So like, I understand the consequences, but I'm okay with those, if that makes sense. It's like how most men understand, like, oh, if I'm a trash ass man, You feel me? Like no woman will want me. But some men are just
you think most men are okay with that?
Living their life that way.
Most men are not okay with that. That's my argument. Like most men are.
I'm not saying most men, but some men
are not okay with that. So now I'm not saying that they do healthy things to fix it, right? So I'm not saying that because we're not okay with it, we're automatically going to start working harder, start doing this, start doing that. But the thing is, we know that it's eating us and killing us inside, that no fucking woman actually wants me.
She want me. She want me. She want me.
That the top 10% of men are getting 90% of the women, and I'm out here just living my life, doing my thing. No one is even looking my way. We know how much it affects us, and we know the psyche that it plays in us. Now, that doesn't actually motivate us to actually get the shit done, for the most part, I guess. And I think it's the same thing with women, because once they hit a certain age, they start regretting and like, yo, I should have probably.
I think you're making I think you're making an assumption.
So what's the opposite assumption to that?
Yeah. I don't think you should even assume. I think that people just live the way they want to live.
Why do we tell women to figure all these things out early in life? So it's kind of like career, work, family, and all that.
Those are traditional values.
Why is it?
It's like telling a woman that she still needs to know how to cook.
I mean,
those are traditional values. I mean, you see what you're pushing your agendas and motive towards that.
No, but
those are not factual things,
right? Like.
No, but those are not factual things, if that makes sense.
The whole premise,
those are cultural, opinionated stuff,
right? We're almost not going to have factual things here. Almost not. I mean, we could, but we're almost not going to have factual things. That's why we talked about like whether men and women have it more difficult, right? None of us can really say with a fact because there is no real metric or measurement.
No, but we're dealing with general understandings, general logical understandings. But yours is cultural. That's the difference. Different cultures have different values.
Cultural as well, right? Different cultures have different values.
Yeah, but America is not the same. America is completely different from that compared to Europe. But your opinion is very traditionally based. While we're currently living in a society that completely believes in the opposite thing. If that makes sense.
Believe in the opposite thing. No.
Let's move on. Finish your story.
The reason why I'm saying that is like the reason when people are like, oh, like make sure you find your husband early, make sure you do this early, make sure you do that early, because women think that.
Why are you saying that? Who is saying that? Can you be more specific with that?
Society.
You're talking about Nigeria. You're talking about Africans,
America,
right?
bro.
Just society.
Even America.
Okay.
You don't know this. It's kind of okay. Why do you think Kevin Samuels became very popular?
Oh, true.
No, I'm just like, now I'm not saying I believe everything the guy is saying.
No. It makes sense. It makes sense. I feel that
he's calling
because of
people out
the generation I'm born in,
thinking they can get away with things that they think we can get away now in 2021, right? But then they're not really seeing the results that they thought they were going to see. So at the end of the day, we know that most women want to be married. Most, I'm not saying all, most. If you are one of the people that don't want to be married, please don't get triggered by this. I said most, right? But I'm saying we know that most women want to be married. And the funny thing is, we even know that most men want to be married. We know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Right? So when we're now trying to encourage women to be like, okay, these are the steps that it takes for you to get the guy that you want to pick you. Right? These are the solutions that we're trying to lay out.
Trigger warning right there, please.
The guy that you want. The guy that will probably pick you is the guy you don't want. Right?
Trigger warning right there.
The guy that you want. Now, I'm not... Now,
why does she need to change herself to satisfy the man?
Any actual steps.
Yikes.
Right? So before you guys start canceling me, I haven't laid down any steps yet. But what I'm saying is that like generally, we say that these are the things you probably want in life. Right, these are the things that you will probably find meaning in, and if you're being honest, you should probably figure that out earlier in life, because we men, we know we like generally. I mean, we just have more time to figure that shit out, because we know when we're 35, we're not really worried about like our ability to impregnate a woman. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not really something we're worried about. Women are generally worried about their ability to get pregnant as they begin to age, and even men wanting younger women generally speaking. Right, so even Peter, you said it yourself. Like, when you're getting married, your wife is probably going to be in her 20s, no matter how old you are. Like Peter was like literally.
Yeah, like, I'll be realistic. I'm going to be frank with you. Yes, definitely. I'm being realistic. Like if I'm in my 40s, I'm not marrying a woman who's in her 40s, and like least she's just entering her
20s.
I mean 20s is 20 to 20. Least, right? So like.
Like the maximum age I'll probably marry is like if I'm like my 40s 29, like maximum. Like 30 is like pushing it. You know what I mean? 31 is like
I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, you can feel it anyway. That is the realistic thing.
What I'm saying is this:
how if you want to build the family you want, realistically, it probably requires, like, if you want to have 5 kids, like 5 kids will probably require 10 years of your life. That woman is not going to be giving birth at 39. Giving birth at 39 is quite dangerous, statistically speaking. You know what I mean? And I don't want to, having problems with my wife at that certain age. It's just my personal values. But obviously, I don't plan on marrying at 45. Let's realistic. I want to marry at 29. I'm like, my girlfriend is like 23 or 24.
Exactly.
You feel me? So like, she's still in her, she's still young.
Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly. But I'm just saying that even if I'm 45, like 30-year-olds, I'm sorry, like, you're last on the totem pole. 40-year-olds, I'm not even considering you.
And that's what I'm saying, right? But like, on the flip side, we know that 20-year-olds will still consider you as a 45-year-old man. 30-year-olds will still consider you as a 45-year-old man. And these are the things I'm saying, right? So at the end of the day, like, even though we still want what we want, women have to figure it out a lot earlier in life, no matter how advanced we think society may have evolved. That's really what I'm trying to say.
I just feel like even with that, women have the support.
You have support systems. I would
all around, and men normally don't have that type of empathy, sympathy, or even consideration.
Yeah.
You're expected to just be this
I
big shot,
agree with that.
like puff your chest, and because of that leads to a lot of their mental problems because they feel like they have to suffer in silence. It's looked down on men to have emotions, have feelings, be depressed, be acting all these ways. But for women, there are people who will come to you and actually want to reach out, help you.
There are support groups. You know what I mean? Like men's mental health is so disregarded. It's like ridiculous. You know what I mean? There's so many systems for traumatic women all across the United States, and I think there's probably like one trauma center in the whole of the United States for men.
I actually agree with that.
You know what I mean?
I think generally we care about women's issues more than we do men's issues. I think we care a lot more about it. But to me, I guess the way I live my life, right, is generally I don't really care about how society views my problem. What I care about is my ability to fix my problem. Right? So if a lot of my problems are within my control to fix, so if I'm being shamed for being emotionally or being emotional, right?
But it's not even that you're shamed for having a problem.
Right? So I'm shamed for having the problem, right? But now, okay, actually, before I even say this, I think I'm about to say it in a very unloving way. So let me just backtrack and say, guys that are dealing with mental health issues, anxiety, all that stuff is valid and is actually a real thing, right? So it's not actually an easy thing to overcome. So the way I was about to say was about to make it sound very simple, like, just do this, but no, that's not what I mean, right? But what I'm saying is it's still within my control though, right? If I know
what the fuck are you saying, bro?
Like, if I'm being shamed for having emotions, right, or having whatever it is, but I know that these emotions are healthy for me, I just need to find a space where I can actually express it.
But how about those spaces are not available?
Let's not go that extreme, right? Because that's when we go extreme is when we feel like there's no solution. I won't say there's no space. I'm just saying there's way more space for women.
There's
way more space for women. And nowadays, even with the way society is becoming, like, for the most part, if you look, you will find there's therapy. Now obviously then you're now talking about privilege versus non-privilege. Can you afford therapy? Can you do this? Can you do that? Fair enough. But there's therapy, there's free therapy, right? There's counseling centers and all that, but it's obviously way more for women. But what I'm saying is like, but as long as
I don't know how you can look at the statistics that there's one traumatic center for men across the whole of United States compared to the multiple hundreds of thousands of the hundreds for women in each state. You know what I mean? But I mean, if that's what you believe is okay.
Wait, I mean, when you say that's why I'm still saying that women have it easier, but what I'm saying is, at least for the most part, it's still technically within my control to find help. Is what I'm saying, right? Like, help is available. If we talk about Nigeria, whether for men or for women, do we have one traumatic center? Right? We don't have one. Or maybe even if we do, right? Even if we have one, for the most part, most of us, I would say, like I won't say we're all suffering from traumatic mental health issues though. We find ways to fix it because you don't need a traumatic center to fix a mental health issue.
I personally feel that women are in kind of the only threat that they have in life, personally, like threat, realistically, is the physical threat.
Physical.
That is the only threat I feel that they have in life.
You said the only threat women have is the physical, right? You said for men,
So no, wait. Let
Not the only, but one of the
Chiso,
biggest.
let me expand what I'm trying to say. Let me use an analogy. If you're climbing a ladder, right? Men have the highest ladder to climb.
In terms of what?
Right? Women, in terms of life, right? You're climbing a ladder.
How do you measure the highest
Let me
level
finish.
of the ladder?
Let me finish.
Because it depends on what you're talking about.
I feel that women have a ladder that is shorter based on how beautiful you are, but there's a limited amount of time for you to climb that ladder. That's the way I see it.
So men have a higher ladder.
A longer ladder to
what
reach the
is
top.
our ladder, I guess? Like, what is the thing we're trying to get to?
All the problems we face, trying to be successful, trying to be an upright citizen, trying to find a wife, trying to impress the girl.
Everything
you know what I mean?
mentioned,
Et
women
cetera.
go through it too. Now, obviously, they're not judged from the value that they create as much as men, right? So the pressure of them to be rich and all that is not necessarily there. But I think they have it in a way to protect themselves, right? Because if you are completely dependent on a man, there's now the risk of the man using that as leverage over you, right? There's the risk of that, right? So for the most part, women are trying to be, okay, I want to be financially stable, right? So that if I'm in a bad situation, I don't have to remain there. I can step out, right? In terms of the ability to find a wife and find a husband, they have it too. And the thing is, it's easier for women when they're younger, but the moment they get older, it gets exponentially more difficult for women and exponentially easier for men. Because the thing is, whether you're ugly, short, whatever it might be, fat, once money enters the chat, bro, like finding women, now obviously finding a good woman might still be a problem, but finding women in general will not necessarily be a problem.
Now she screaming like, ooh, ooh, ooh. How much you made? $100,000 just in 2 days.
You get what I'm saying? So to me, it's like everything that you say a man goes through, women go through it as well. Now, obviously, the levels for each one is different. That's why when you are like the ladder that a guy has to climb and the ladder that is higher than the ladder a woman has to climb, I'm like, it depends on what exactly you're talking about. If you're talking about the expectation to have a family, the woman's ladder is way higher. If you're talking about like expectation to be successful, provide value, do that, obviously a guy's ladder is way higher.
I mean, we can agree to disagree. That's what I'm saying.
That's just the way I see it. So when I now put all these things in perspective, most of our issues with ladder is like, or like most of our issues in society as men, right? A lot of them is still within our control. A lot of it.
I don't understand how finding a husband is not within your control.
It's within your control. You just have a shorter frame. You just have a biological clock that's not within your control. We don't.
Don't men die earlier?
Yeah, we die earlier. I mean, we work harder. We work the harder jobs.
So they
I mean, dying earlier doesn't really factor into finding a wife though, because if you're dead, you're not going to find anything.
Yeah, so you wasting your time.
Okay, men don't have the pressure to find a wife quickly because we're scared we're going to die before we find one. Let me put it that way, right? So us dying early doesn't factor into finding a partner, because I'm not scared I'm not going to find a partner because I'm going to die too early, because I know if I die I'm just going to be dead. It's not going to matter anyways.
Overall, I think each gender suffers from a multitude of situations, and it really just depends.
Right. Okay, I think we can switch. Right? I think we left that on this such an open place, but it is what it is. We have a lifetime. We have no right or wrong answer, because we're not here. Actually, I think we should add that disclaimer. We're not here to give you guys the right answers. We're just here to discuss. I mean, that just
just have a discussion within ourselves.
So everything we say here is based on research that we think we've done and anecdotal evidence that we believe. That's just the way it is, right? So, another question I can ask, right? Since we're talking about the men or women, in you guys' opinions, maybe you have research. I don't know what you guys did ahead of time. Which gender is more toxic, men or women?
Oh, men, 100%.
You know, what about you?
100%.
Yeah. More toxic? I say men are more toxic.
Oh. I don't even need research for that.
Yes. I mean, statistically speaking, the most toxic people are men. I'll say women are kind of crunched up together in terms of their toxicity. Like they have kind of similar levels, while men is like a whole ass range.
Women have moments. Men have lives.
In my opinion,
I'm dead. I think men are more toxic for sure. Chisom, you know this. Chisom, you're a boy. Come on. What we talk about behind?
I'll give it to men very slightly, but I think men are a bit more toxic than women. but I'll give it to men very slightly. But the question now is that, because I think toxicity is so broad, right? How do you guys now define toxicity, and how are you measuring this?
I look at toxicity as how you act, like how you treat others, how you portray yourself. I feel like men, majority of the time, they don't give a shit about anything or anyone but themselves. Like, they're very selfish.
I am going to create an environment that is so toxic.
I mean, I think we're brought up to have a selfish mentality in order to achieve what we want in life. You know, I cannot be caring about you, but when I'm out there struggling to make the bank, you feel me? Like we care about few people. Basically, our circle has to be small and focused. If that makes sense, right? I
kind of get what I personally believe that. I won't say that's the rule, because
I personally believe that our scope has to be narrowed. Right? I feel that it's more. I feel like for women, it's more advantageous for them to have a broad scope, to increase their possibility of meeting new people, having this certain type of relationships. But for men, I mean, we understand why networking is important to some, but we understand, like, there are certain things that are so unnecessary to us that we're just like, what the fuck?
But what I think is, I don't know if it's a case of being brought. Obviously, that plays a factor, right? Like, nurture obviously plays a factor into it, but I think it's just a case of things we care about more, right? Like, the things that we're naturally predisposed to. Women care about their friends, their community, their environment. Now, no, I'm saying
men
obviously
also
we care about it,
that.
but women care about it more than men do generally, right? We care about more, like, I guess, our goals, like passion, purpose. All this. It's more like the difference between masculinity and femininity. Now we both genders have both, right, in them, but which one shows itself more? I think in the case of, like, networking, you know, caring about, like, people, bringing people together, all that stuff, social stuff, you know, like, women generally tend to care about all that stuff more. Men are just more like, I'm trying to be simple, man. Like, what do you want for your birthday? I want
men are more likely to be isolated.
We just kind of enjoy the simple stuff, the simple things in life. Right, that's why I'm like, so when it now comes to, I guess, bringing it back to toxicity, because I was about to be like, I mean, that's why women spend more than men, because women just like shit happening. Things are going on, they like that shit.
I think that's a different cause.
No, I'm not saying that's toxic.
I don't think that's the trait of toxicity.
I was just giving an example, right? But what I'm saying is, bringing it back to the conversation of toxicity, right? Bole was saying that she thinks men are more toxic because we're extremely selfish. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the things, and I do agree that I think men in general have more selfish traits.
I agree with that as well. But what I'm saying is that I don't think it's a toxic thing, but it can definitely become toxic.
Okay. I mean, I don't think selfishness is necessarily toxic, but I think men
it's easier for us
men
to kind of who. I also think
to push that boundary of toxicity.
But also very logical. Right, at least for the most part, women are more emotional leaning. Now, obviously, I know there are emotional ladies out there, because people will get triggered by that statement.
But we're actually quite similar in terms of our emotional expressions. It's just that to the extremes of things, men are more likely,
logical, right? And then women are more likely to be logical. Their emotion, right? In general, exactly. So it's kind of like when emotions are in play, emotions are generally expressed to other people. So being selfish becomes more difficult generally. That's why women are a bit more selfless than men as well. But
all right, but what else are we? Toxicity for men. I'll just say that in terms, men are just more of dicks. We literally just say whatever the fuck we want without consequences.
You say anything, you do anything without thinking about how that may affect another person.
Yeah, we're more likely to do that. I just feel that men are just, because of, we have to I'm not saying we have to have that mentality, but it's just ingrained meant for men to have that, like, to some selfishness, but like how to say it, being face strong, if that's the right word, you know what I mean? I'm being assertive. I was going to say assertive as well. Because of you, assertive. There's a hierarchy within men. You know, so if you're a bitch, you know what I mean, you're at the bottom of the totem pole, like, you don't want that kind of lifestyle. So we have to have certain traits for us to, you know what I mean, push ourselves up that hierarchy. And that's just the way of life. There's always going to be someone better than you in certain areas of things.
The one says men are more selfish than women. Okay, honestly, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. Yeah, I think it's our nature.
It's just inherently the nature we have, that we have to.
But that's what I don't understand. Why, like, to be considered a real man, like a man, why do you have to have, why does toxicness whatever the word is, masculinity.
I think
have
if
to
you're
tie
toxic,
into that. Like, why do you have to be aggressive? Why
I
do you
think
have to
I'm saying
want control?
toxic masculinity is different. It doesn't make you a real man.
I think
it doesn't make you a real man.
I think it's overboard. Yeah, that's when it's like an overboard. But with those traits of toxic,
so it's kind of like masculinity that became toxic,
right?
Yeah.
But you need those traits as a man. You need those traits as a man. You know, I mean, Bola, you like a strong man. Well,
I like my man strong, but you don't have to be aggressive.
Aggressive is also.
But when you're strong, when you're strong, you're aggressive.
There's a level of aggressive that you would like.
I'm talking about me. I want a strong man, but you don't have to, for example, speak to me like I'm your superior.
Oh,
I don't need you to belittle me. I don't need you to control me. Like,
okay.
I think all those behaviors are toxic.
I think they're toxic, but I think they're inherent for men. I don't think to the level of toxicity, but controlling is an inherent factor of men. I mean, that's why lack of men in a household greatly affects the kid. You feel me? You need some sort of assertiveness, some sort of order. I'm not trying to say that you put that in your relationship, because that's a whole different kind of thing. But there are certain traits of that toxicity to a degree that is needed. You know what I mean? I think toxicity is when you push it to a beyond level where it's unnecessary. But talking down on people is kind of like a man's thing. I'm sorry.
But it's toxic. Like, that's a very harmful behavior. I feel like that's it could be harmful. I think that's a toxic attitude.
I think it could be harmful.
To be okay with that.
I personally, I'm okay with it. I don't think it's I think if you do it excessively, it could be harmful, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
But sometimes you need to talk to your girl in an undertone to, like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? You're not making sense.
And I'm gonna do the same shit right back to you.
You do the same thing.
Peter, this
50-50,
way, like, I'm not with Peter at all. This way, like, Peter, you're in that boat by yourself. What? Hold on.
Chisom is the worst person of this.
Hold on. What about
who do you think does it
character right now? What about assassinate character?
Let's just say it right now. Chisom says it's not with me. It's because I'm opening my mouth and saying Chisom is the main perpetrator
Hold on. Can I defend
kind
myself?
of acts.
Since people want to assassinate my character right now, can I defend myself? Bola is out here sipping water. She doesn't want to come and tell the truth. It's alright. It is what it is. But I've been accused of talking to people in a tone that might be undermining, but I've never really been accused of being aggressive.
You smell that? I smell cap.
So those are two different things, right? You might tell someone you're fucking stupid in a very calm way, and the person feels disrespected as fuck, but they're not going to call you aggressive. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that's where the toxic side of me comes out. That's what I'm saying. So I've never really been accused of being aggressive, but I've been accused of being, I guess, undermining to people. But it shows up in different ways. That's what I'm saying. That's what Peter is about to say right now. I'm not aggressive, talking down on people type guy.
Chisom is not aggressive. I don't think any of us are aggressive, but I have my aggressions in spats, if that makes sense. Like, if you test me to my limit, I will blow up on you no matter which sex you are. Like, I will insult you right there, scream at you, shout at you. I won't hit you if you're a girl, obviously, but if you're a guy, you're most likely, you know what I mean, we go rock there, right? I let me just say this, I don't fight all the time. I'm not like an area boy. Like, I'm reasonably sound, but the few times that I've been tested, it goes down, you feel me? And a lot of times on the football pitch, when people are elbowing you, I mean, Chisom knows this. When people are elbowing you, you feel me? There's inherent kind of aggression. You have to be more aggressive, basically, in certain things. You feel me? You can't be taking shit. Like when Chisom is, I remember one time that I kicked Chisom's feet, and Chisom was coming upon me. I was like, bro, what are you doing? You're trying to assert his dominance on you. I was like, who is this nigga? You feel me? I just laughing at him, like, bro, what are you doing here? Get out, man. I was like, oh, don't do that again. I was like, I'll do it. If you just annoying. But those are the kind of those are the kind of things that that's actually toxic. Let me just say that what I just did right there is toxic, but those are the kind of things you need just to stand up for yourself in case
I'll say this, right? Let me to the brothers listening to this, don't listen to Peter, honestly. Don't listen to Peter, because I feel like what Peter is dealing with is a whole different ball game. He's trying to ensure that he's not
it's a whole different scenario. But that's level of
what I'm saying, like, I told you,
know what I mean? Chisom knows what I'm talking about.
I'll be like Peter kicked my leg. I'll walk away. I'll let you know, like, nigga, don't kick my leg.
Of course. And
I'll obviously like be very angry about it and everything. But if it comes to, like, am I actually going to fight? Hell no.
Yeah.
I was saying, like,
no, I'm not going to fight you, obviously. I'm not gonna fight you, but when you're aggressive towards me, I'm not gonna cower like, oh, I'm sorry.
To me, if you're wrong, you have to be able to
position yourself
right there, that's exactly what I'm saying.
No, you can say you're sorry, but the way you were but just the way you were aggressive towards me, there was kind of certain level of aggression when you say you're sorry. You just look like a bitch. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm not having this. Generally, I'm about to push it in a whole different direction.
And to me, that's what becomes toxic, right? Because honestly, the whole thing is just being able to acknowledge when you're wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Whether you look like a bitch or whether you don't look like who gives a shit? You are wrong. That's what it was, right? And it just is what it is. That's what, like, if you're not going to accept that you're wrong, that's when you're now becoming a bit toxic. You know, you're doing this. But the funny thing is, I think women actually do that more than men. I think women are one toxic trait about women is that they don't necessarily accept when they are wrong. They say that men have egos, which I agree with, but I think that women's ego shows up in a different way. Because if you think about it, in a guy-girl relationship, heterosexual relationship, right? Who apologizes more, the guy or the girl? Generally speaking, Bole, what do you think?
I think most likely it's the guy.
Why?
The guy.
I don't think it's just
swallow our pride.
For us
we're swallowing the pride, but the women are not swallowing that same pride, right?
Yeah. I like most men will just look at the girl and like, oh, she's just acting stupid. You feel me? And like they don't. Most men
so
won't
they'll just apologize to end it.
Yeah,
to
like
be dead it.
Like they won't really give a shit about like, oh, you apologize. It's like men are more of like action focused, while women are more.
That's what I'm saying.
Like whatever you like, whatever you say, kind of focus.
Because men, they always accusing men of like, oh, you guys are so egotistical, you guys are so prideful, this and that, and I agree with it. It's true, right? We have our ego, 100% true. But women's ego shows up in a different way. And to me, that simple example just illustrates what it is. And I think that's a toxic trait that women have. So even when they're actually wrong, they'll still be there chilling for the guy to apologize, and when you not apologize, they'll not apologize back. I mean,
a good example is like when you're having a fucking argument or discussion, like not like an actual relationship argument. It's like you're debating on a certain topic, and like you just say something, right? And like a guy can just start laughing at your answer. A girl will be triggered by that.
Piss me off.
You know what I mean?
Why the fuck are you laughing at me?
A girl will be triggered by that. She's like, oh my, why the fuck are you laughing at me? You know what I mean? Bro, do you know how many times girls have done that shit to me? Like girls that I'm like, you know, kind of in a relationship with, if I laugh at them, it's just it hits different.
It's over.
Like
I won't talk to you for the rest of the day.
They want to start crying. You feel me? It's like almost to that level. And like if a guy is laughing at me, right?
To me, that signifies that the guy doesn't have any other argument. That's just what it is. To me, just like this is the guy laughing because he doesn't know what to say. Exactly. Like you can go. You know, you're free to go. You lost your arguments. Move on. Oh man. All right.
So like those are the kind of things. Like, I mean, another thing is like why men start shouting. You know, like men have shouting battles to each other, right? But if you do it to a woman, say, oh, why are you shouting? You're being aggressive. You're being this. But for men, it's like when you're shouting, you don't see each other as aggressive.
Man. It's just the energy.
You're giving it to that argument, right? Yep. Like how passionate you feel about that argument. But women will take it in a different light. Like this nigga.
Who do you think is more?
Kill me.
I mean, just going off of another, I guess, spectrum of toxicity. Who do you think is more abusive in a relationship? Oh yeah, physical abuse.
I think it's 50-50. Type of abuse.
I think it's 50-50.
Physical abuse, men. Actually,
no. Statistically, around the world, men. If you're talking about the United States, I think it's a whole different. It's 50-50 in the United States.
Honestly,
but in general, in the world, men.
I think men for physical and emotional.
There's emotional
abuse.
Actually, yes. You know why? But I just think it's just the inherent biological traits of men.
But we shouldn't always be putting that excuse on it though.
No, but
like you should be able to effectively educate yourself on how to be, you know, how to carry yourself in a better way. But not just because I'm a guy. That's
but I understand that. But like when you're a man and you're competing on so many levels, you have to be at a certain type of toxicity. In the 1800s, I understand why men were toxic. You feel me? I truly understand why men were toxic. In the old generation, for survival, I understand why men were toxic. Of like, you're like, tell this woman you can't do shit. It's just the state that they're in. They're in a state of alert all the time.
They're done.
And if anything happens, that when it comes down to the shit, who is going to be on the front line? It's the men. You feel me? But like it's just a byproduct of that toxicity of battling each and every day that the woman gets, the bad end of the stick. But I think in the world, like what's going on in Afghanistan right now, when they are telling women that they can't go to schools, right? I just think it's just the situation that they're in. You know what I mean? They have no clean infrastructure. You know what I mean? Their economy is going to shit. Like all they have is just basically survive, food, eat, and sleep. You know, so they're just bound to like, oh, my wife cannot be out there going anything because of a man might take her away from me. You know, you understand what I'm trying to say? Like you can't allow a woman to walk freely. You know what I mean? The danger is there, etc., etc. It's just a lot of things.
But just bringing back
the result of the things. You know, I think in modern, let me just say, I think in modern society, men don't have that excuse. You know what I mean?
So in terms of so I would agree there, physically abusive, you think men are more abusive than women when it comes to a relationship? Well, to shock you guys, women are actually more abusive than men. Statistically speaking, statistics show that. Let me see.
Yeah, but
let's see.
Yeah, I definitely think that. I mean, Bola has hit me before. Yeah,
Peter, what?
Bola slapped me across the face, straight up.
Oh well, Bola, this is all you, fam. Defend yourself. They don't know you, fam.
Y'all know me.
Bola, why did you slap me at that night, man? I'm joking, by the way. Bola never slapped me. I don't know. They're just upsetting levels of things that, like, I would never hit a girl in my life, but I always set that boundary. Like,
you have to establish
touching
your
my face anyhow. I'm not that.
At the same time, you also know your limitation. The only thing is, women think they can women can get away with it more than men. All right. It is what it is. Like women can get away with it. Like if a woman is aggressive on you, for the most part, you're not going to, like, worst case, you shout at her and walk away. That's what you're going to do, right?
And if you shout at her, you probably look more like
the way it is. But according to the NCBI, women are slightly more likely to use physical aggression in a relationship than men. Men are more likely to inflict injuries than women. Okay, so those are two different things. Right, so women are actually more likely to be physically aggressive than men. Slightly, it's not like a huge, I guess, margin, right? But men, how does it little tap? But men are more likely to inflict injuries, obviously, than women. Exactly. So when that comes to physical abuse, like, who's more toxic, men or women? Like. My sisters out there, I love you, but
I honestly think
more toxic than men when it comes to physical stuff. Physically,
wow. I think
you guys have seen it. You see how men suffer.
Honestly, no. I think the statistic is accurate.
I mean, it makes sense.
Like I think it makes sense. You know, because in my last relationship, like she'll hit me in the arm. Yeah. You know, like where we're having an argument and I start laughing. She might get aggressive towards me, hit me in the chest. You know, hit me. I'm going to sleep sound that night. But if I was to slap this girl across the face a whole week, I'll still be feeling.
But what I'm saying is, but the question is more, not necessarily. I guess
that's the difference.
Is the other word intensity, right? I mean, obviously, you're calling for intensity as well, but in terms of frequency, women are more toxic than men when it comes to physical abuse. Oh, I mean, but okay, so that was one. I guess the physical abuse side and the emotional abuse. What did you guys decide?
I said men.
I'll say men are more emotional abuse because honestly, I think
men are also more emotionally abusive. I think the statistics also show that men are slightly. Funny is all these things are slight differences, right? It's not a lot, but men,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It makes us slightly because of
men are more emotionally abusive than women. Because for the most part, it also ties back to our selfish traits. Yeah. You know, I don't really give a shit about you. I just care about me. Exactly. Who do you guys think is more toxic when it comes to being controlling?
Controlling? Men. Why we're inherently controlling. So? We literally have to be inherently controlling. I think literally society.
But when it materializes into relationship, the same way like how are more aggressive.
It materializes.
More aggressive than women. When it materializes into relationships, women are more aggressive than men. Right? Is the same thing? Yeah, it's slight. What I'm saying is that
no, slightly, but slightly.
I'm talking about controlling more damage.
But when it comes to more damage,
low key.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously this is all anecdotal evidence, but I think it's women. Because
I would say
I
this.
think it's men.
I'll say this. Men are more men allow their women to control them. Women are forced into being
To do
controlled.
it.
I mean,
Yes.
force is a very strong.
That's the way I see it. Like if a woman is if a woman is controlling me or subdued, I think that's the right word. I think if a man is allowing a woman to be controlling her,
I mean, that's
he-
majority
he
of
likes that.
relationships, though. That's
But
majority
most
of
women,
relationships. Most
you know what I
most
mean?
relationships actually allow control both ways.
Yeah. But
Right.
I feel that most likely. But I think the controlling you're talking about
that goes down to physical. I'm just talking about who's more. You know when they say, "Oh, he's so controlling," "Oh, she's so controlling." You know, you get what I'm saying. Like for example, I mean, you know how like
Then
you
it's
hear
50-50.
more about,
Then it's
like,
50-50 because of
overprotective moms, or should I say overbearing moms, than you do dads.
Yeah.
You know, generally speaking. Now, obviously, that's not a romantic relationship or partnership, but to me, that kind of rings a bell in my head that women like to give up control, but then when it becomes toxic, they become controlling, right? Because one of the things that women complain about is, oh, I just want a guy that I can let loose with and be myself and will allow me to drop my inhibitions and all that, and just, I don't know, I can just be the sweet version of myself. And to me, that's fact. That's true. Women want that, right? But then when you don't get that, you become guarded, and then when you're in your guarded state, you like to see control in everything, right? But
that's crazy. I call cap.
Why?
I don't think so.
I caught cap.
Why? I mean, by the way, I just want to say, like, all I'm saying right now is just me thinking, right? This is actually not facts. It's just the way my head is processing.
Honestly, let's just say this: we're not professionals. We're just yanning dust.
Yeah, but why do you call cup? Why do you call cup? Do you call cup?
I just don't think that.
Actually, let Bole go first.
Women.
I just feel like I'm thinking like I'm even trying to think in my past relationships and my dealings with men.
That's the way Bole was controlling that relationship.
I was not.
Yeah, I said there's no way you were.
Exactly. I just feel like if a man tells a woman to do something, the woman like has to do it. But if a woman tells a man to do it, it's like, oh, fuck that shit. Yeah.
I feel that if a man tells a woman to do something and the woman doesn't,
can you give us examples actually? Because I think that's extremely broad. That's extremely broad.
Go clean my bed.
I don't agree with that
go
at all.
Clean my bed.
You know, it's kind of like open the door for me. You know, like kind of like, you know, stand on the side of the road. These are things that women request of men, and we kind of have to do it.
Is that demanding?
Demand request whatever word you want to use. Right, buy me
control. I don't think that's controlling.
Take me on a date, shit like that.
I don't think that's controlling.
I kind of have
I'm not saying it's controlling, but I'm saying that we all make requests, right?
Yeah,
and we kind of have to do it, especially if you had the relationship with the person. I think it goes both ways. That's why I was like, I don't know if I agree with what Bole said. It was like when a man asks for something, a woman has to do it. But when a woman asks for something,
I just feel like men expect women to kind of not be at their beck and call, but basically be at their beck and call.
So men expect women to submit.
But if it's flipped, yes.
I mean that part is true.
That's where I see the control.
Mm-hmm. So you said you had an example. Yeah. Can you give it?
Okay, so this happened with my ex. If you're watching this, I'm still low-key pissed about this because this shit was just some stupid, dumbass shit.
Yo, but I want to hear this.
I was charging my phone with my charger, right? My phone is on 5%. Not even. It was at a good percentage.
I'm just imagining right now.
How annoying.
Finish it.
But I'm charging my phone. My phone's at it's like 3/4 of the way charged, right? But I like my phone to be full, 100%, right? This man comes with his phone that's always dead or always on some 2% type shit. I tell him all the time, charge your phone. Charge your phone.
Yeah.
We were gonna go out to like dinner or some place to eat. 5 minutes before, oh, can I charge my phone real quick? Give me your charger. I said no. Go get your own charger. This is my charger. I'm still charging my phone. He wants to come and argue with me now. Your phone's at 80%. Da. Just give me the charger. Let me charge my phone. I said no. We got into a huge argument that day. We didn't go out for dinner. We didn't talk the rest of that day. All because he wanted the charger, and I said no.
Oh, Peter, what do you think about that?
So men expect to, have things done their way.
Honestly,
if that was a flipped situation, there's no way I would have gotten that charger.
Yeah, and there's no way you'd have even. You could have gotten into an argument.
It depends, though. When you say there's no way, that's a very strong word. Because there's a way a woman can run her mouth. That's why men apologize more. Cause just like I don't want to deal with this shit, man. The thing is like sometimes obviously men are ready to go down that dirty. You know, it's kind of like I have your time today, but I'll say 90% of the time the guy will just be like, let me just fucking go get another charger, man. I don't have time for this shit. You know, like
I just didn't like the way he assumed I would give him.
I won't lie to you. I won't lie to you, Bole. If it was me and you in that situation, I don't think I would have argued with you, but I'd have assumed that you're going to give me the charger. I'd have assumed the reason why it's not because I'm controlling. It's just the logic of your phone is at 80%, mine is at 2%. Let me freaking charge my phone real quick. That's the only logic I would have. That's the only logic I would have gone by.
I also think controlling can also to move to what's the word, to assist with like that same situation. Men don't listen to women. I told the man, charge your phone before we left.
I called cap on
that. He
that.
didn't listen. I don't think men listen to women.
Do you think women listen to men?
I think they listen more.
I call cap.
I don't think, and that goes back to the men not caring.
Actually, yeah, I actually agree that men don't listen to women. We
it goes through one ear and out.
Yeah, I just think it. I don't want to say inherent value of what you're saying.
It depends on what you're talking about. It depends.
It's like if you're telling me to go charge my phone, I'm like, bro, like, whatever.
Exactly.
It's like you're the one. You're
but then you're getting angry at me because I refused to give you my charger after I told you something to do.
But you girls are the same people that they'll tell you that, we need to go out at 10:30, you're still doing your makeup.
Okay, that's
men are expected to keep quiet, eat that shit.
Or what do you want to eat? I'm not hungry. You bring your food. The person wants to chop your food, and then you just have to sit down and look at your food. Get eaten.
That's about it. If your man says, "Oh no, I'm leaving you. I'm going to go. You can drive yourself."
I got left.
Do you know how many?
That shit made me so upset.
Do you know how many fucking women we get triggered with that? Or like,
I had to walk to the event myself.
I'm not giving you my food. Who did that? Your ex? I love that ex knows what's up. Shout out to you, man.
So mad that day.
Yeah, honestly, I can just see the Bole will be fuming. I don't want to say it. That ex just be like, I told her. I was like,
and that's exactly what it was.
The way the girl that open his eye, that would be like
yeah, honestly, yeah, man. Man. I love him.
But I think we both have issues listening to each other, right? But I think women communicate more generally than men. So women's list is generally longer than a guy's list. A guy's list is generally very short.
Yes, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Women's list is very long. So when you say a guy is not listening to you, maybe he listens to 1, 2, 3, but he doesn't listen to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, damn, okay, he's not listening to you. I gave you 3.
Like,
you only listen to 1.
Yeah, you can probably.
You know what I'm saying?
You can probably count how many times in a day a man will ask you for something, but you can probably count that. Men don't ask for much. Like, probably a man will probably ask you, could you probably go get something for me in my apartment, like physical things, right? A woman will be like, why are you not treating me better? You know what I mean? Or look at those girls on Instagram. Why are we not going?
If I lost my toe, would you still love me the same?
Yes, like those things that are just like, what the, like, how do you quantify this? Like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Like, what am I supposed to do with that information? Just like Jada Pinkett Smith was like, like, especially with sex, you should know me, you should know how I feel. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Am I a magician? Can I read your head? You know what I mean? Yeah. Just so you probably know the clip.
I know the clip you're talking about. We can probably.
Yeah, it's like women just the most abstract things they'll be requesting from men.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So that's why like when you say men don't listen to women, I'm like, partly true, but at the same time, women also don't necessarily listen to men as much. There's levels to the game.
But controlling, I still think is men.
I think. You know what? Maybe I'll give it to men slightly, because I know that when it comes to, because if you go back to our episode of Are Men Insecure or Are Women Wild, generally we like to control certain things, right? But if you now open the scope, I think the scope of what women might want to control might be a little bit more, but the things that we want to control are very specific and very extreme. It's like, I want to be involved with the finances. I don't want you showing your yash on Instagram.
On Instagram, on Twitter. You feel me? I don't want you to be hugging no niggas. It's like, you feel me? Those kind of shit. Like,
I don't want you sitting on any guy's lap. Those are things that are like, like, I really want to be involved in this, but it's kind of like, where do you want to eat? A guy genuinely doesn't give a shit. let me say genuinely, 90% of the time when he asks you what do you want to do, he genuinely he says he doesn't care. He genuinely doesn't care. It's like whatever you want to do, I want to do. You know, where do you want to go?
But like if a man chooses, so she's taking the trigger. Oh, why did you pick this place? That's what
I'm saying. Like,
I mean, honestly, let me just say this. I mean, I'm also a type of guy that I don't date, except I'm taking you seriously. Like, you're my wife. You know, you're my, you know, I don't want to say like friends. You're my, what would I call this? You're my entanglement. No, I won't say entanglement. Yeah. If you're my entanglement, I'm not going to be out there asking you. I mean, oh, let's go on a dinner date. Like, I like at WPA, I never went on a dinner date. Yeah, and like, it's me.
I mean, that's speed up for you, man. It is what it is. You know, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Like, when men, like the things that we want to be controlling about, we really want to hone in. That's what I'm like. Men,
because those kind of shit actually hurts us. Like, if you do it, that shit hurts us. Like,
most, if you think about it, most of the decisions that are really made in the house, generally your mom makes it, but the big ones are your dad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's hard to obviously measure, like, okay, which one matters more, you know. So it's like
they are both important. They are both needed.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Anyhow, just wrapping this up, who do you think is more, or like, who lies more? Who's more? Because these are toxic traits. Like, who lies more?
Who lies more? Women lie more. Women lie more. Women fucking lie more. That's a fact. Women lie to each other for fucking crying out loud.
Who cheats more?
Men.
Who cheats more? I'll say it's 50-50. I'll say in Africa it's men.
In America.
In America, 50-50.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So you think women lie more, men cheat more? Sorry, it's 50-50 for cheating. But what do you think?
Yeah.
Do women lie more?
Women lie more. But are you kidding me? You guys lie to each other. You guys have whole friendship.
Wait, I thought we were talking men. Are we saying in general?
I mean, obviously, it's mostly like, in the context of a relationship, but you can also use other examples as well to just kind of like buttress your points.
I feel like in a relationship, men lie more.
Nah.
In general, women lie more.
Nah. But like you girls, they say that, oh, I'm fine. While you're texting your girls, oh, this nigga just did this to me. I can't believe
because niggas don't think.
But you say that you're fine.
I mean, even if I say I'm not fine, you still won't do shit about it.
That's not true. If you're fine, we want to.
I'm sorry. I'm just going off.
You know, I trigger bully got.
You motherfucking right. You motherfucking right. I'm bitter. You motherfucking right. I'm trigger.
Yeah. I now see how calm she sounded after. She went from dragon to princess. She's like, I'm sorry. This is the power that women have, man. Like, even when she apologized with me, I felt like very calm. I was like, oh, like, I want to apologize for you having to apologize.
Oh, I'm dead.
Or I'm just thinking also in the context of like cheating. Yeah. Men lie.
Yeah.
But I can't think.
Okay, let me just give you guys the stats. Let me give you guys the stats because I actually looked into this one ahead of time, right? Peter said men cheat more. Or he said 50-50. Bole said men cheat more.
The stats are women, right?
The stats are men actually cheat more than women.
Oh.
But the thing is, if you look at the trend, right? Now the rate of women cheating is increasing exponentially, right? But the men's rate of cheating has pretty much remained the same over time. It's pretty much the same. But nowadays women, so hey, all these hot girls, you guys are really hot.
I mean, let's start paying for future wifeys, man.
You know, like, so the rate of women, but I think women are probably better cheaters than men.
Yeah,
but
I mean, because of there's so many.
Yeah, but
there's so many.
But I think when it comes to cheating, guys also kind of like I don't like saying this because it's fucked up and it's not an excuse. You know, so I'm not saying this as an excuse for guys to cheat, right? Like, if you cheat, your woman should probably leave you. Honestly, that's what I think. Like, if a guy cheats on the girl, I don't care whether he still loves her or not, because I think he can still love a girl and cheat on her. I think so.
Yep.
But if no matter how much love you have for this girl, the girl should leave. Honest, not should, but she should think about leaving.
She should.
Like, obviously, when you think about kids and all
I'll tell my sisters to leave.
Exactly.
I'll tell my sisters to leave, so I'll tell them like,
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'll tell my sister to leave. Generally speaking. Now, obviously, there's a lot to think about in the context of one relationship, right? But men can generally separate the emotions from the physicality when it comes to cheating. Women can do the same thing too, and women are doing it more nowadays, especially with the hot girl summer movement and all that. So women are kind of training themselves to be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
But generally, women still, like, if they don't like you, they're probably not going to allow you to touch them. You know what I'm saying? That's why we went with the whole point of like, oh, like this one is a creep and this one is you know what I'm saying? Like, for the most part, like, they kind of have to, you know. And also, if they are still really in love with their man, for the most, even women say themselves, when they are really swooned by a guy, every other guy almost becomes insignificant to them when it comes to like putting themselves there. And I think a lot of women can agree with that. Let me know if you disagree in the comments.
Yeah.
You know, actually,
I mean, that's why when you see like when you see like an ugly nigga with like a hot girl, you're just like, how the fuck is this happening? You know, you're like, damn, bro, like, congratulations to you, man.
Exactly.
Like, that's why men honestly have faith. Like, if you're ugly,
yeah,
like, men
it's
still
like,
have
you know,
faith.
I can
You
still
have
hold
faith.
this woman with something.
I can still hold this woman down. But like no offense for girls, but like, if you're an ugly girl, I'm sorry that the type of niggas, no hot guy is gonna be looking at you. Men are toxic, man. But like, please, let's repeat that statement again. Men are fucking toxic. Oh my god.
Oh man, but yeah, so men still cheat more than women, but women, well, you guys are coming up hot. You know, you guys are coming up hot. The last one I'll ask is, who's generally more jealous?
Women.
Oh. I think in terms of I think men have spikes in terms of all these categories I was saying.
Yeah.
We have higher spikes. We're kind of dormant for a bit, but then we erupt, and our eruptions are just drastic. If that makes sense. But women is kind of like they are in a constant state of jealousy. If you like the girls, if they're scrolling on Instagram and they see you like one
You
of
better
your
not
friends,
stop on that post.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
don't look at her booty, you know.
Unfollow.
Exactly. Like, girls will literally tell you to unfollow.
You know all those your gym girls. All those your gym babes. You're gonna have to
all those my gym babes. Shout out to my gym babes.
You're gonna have to, you know, remove all of them.
Should I drop one? Shout out to I just actually I'm not gonna drop it. Peter, you like that shit? Let me chill. Let me chill on that.
You, bro. If you want to drop, I hope you pressure you to drop it, but think about it.
I'll expose it when we hit 1,000.
You guys heard the live and direct. 1,000 subs if you want to see the babes that Peter's gym babes. Because honestly, I'll tell you, they are something.
Yo, they're not extreme though. Let's just make that clear. They're not extreme. Like, don't you describe?
They are something. You know, that's what I was saying.
I'm liking one fucking head honcho or something like that. Nah, fam. Chill on that.
They are something. I'll tell you that much. Oh man, yo, but this conversation was like, I don't think we came to a conclusion, but I think it was still a very fun conversation, you know. And I think we can all take pointers from everything. Like, we know that generally speaking, most men and women are more similar than we are different, you know, generally speaking.
For sure.
But obviously, when you go to the extremes, you see our differences really show. That's why people are like, yo, men, we have spikes. Women, they're higher, but their spikes are not as extreme, you know. So like, when you now bring everything together, kind of balances each other out. That's why we need the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine energy. Oh, but I enjoyed this conversation. I don't know about you guys.
It was good.
I feel we just ran.
I got triggered.
But it's okay.
I got triggered.
You got triggered, man. You know, we can talk about all those specific past situations.
Honestly, you know, it's so funny that we just have these gender wars, and I think it can be so stupid sometimes because we're all dealing with a lot of things in our hearts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to be happy, but I want to be happy at the end of the day.
Yeah, I want to be happy too, bro.
It's just the way. It's just the way. Chisa wants to be happy as well. So it's just the way it is, you know. I mean, and look, I mean, we all have to have sacrifices at the end of the day for our relationships. You know, I know, like, let me just be frank with you. Like, when men say certain things, like, oh, like, you know, I don't want a girl with a high body count. I mean, we're being realistic with ourselves. We're just being factually honest. It's not toxic to say that you don't like that. I think it's old thinking for men to think like that, but sometimes it's just a barrier that some men can just get that, like, accept. You feel me? Just like it's a barrier that, like, some women cannot accept that their man is making less than them. You know what I mean? So men just have that barrier. I won't say it's toxic or this thing.
Depending on the gender you are, we lean towards certain things or certain ways of thinking. Now, obviously, can you transcend it? Obviously you can. That's why it's called nature nurture and then you can also learn from your own experiences. But this was dope.
Are you an individual?
Yeah.
You know, find the right person at the end of the day.
Yep. Do your thing. Alright, guys, subscribe, like, share, do your thing. We've already made a special announcement at this point, so you guys already know what to do. Go to our social media, follow, because we have a special announcement on there. Do your thing, man. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your baby daddy, tell your girls, tell your boys to do their thing. Before we leave, I'll leave you with the proverb for next week. You know, in the line of thinking, Peter was talking about, like, you know, we need to stick together. So along those lines, the proverb is, if you want to go quickly, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. We need each other. So
bars. I actually believe
bars.
In that. I believe in that.
All right, guys, it's your spice. You know, I brought the spice. Hopefully I didn't get cancelled today.
Oh my gosh, man.
Hopefully I didn't get cancelled today, but I did bring the spice and the energy. You know, it's your spice. Chisum, Ejikeme, Jeremiah, Okafor.
I started with energy in this episode, and you're probably not going to be able to see the fucking video. And I'm very sorry about that, because I just found out what's going on right now. Man. But it's your boy Peter Nkechi came to Aliogo, and we're leaving it on
RIP to the
sour note.
The video, man. RIP to the video.
RIP to the video.
RIP. And this year, glazed chocolate donut. We brought some sprinkles today. Mm-hmm. The sprinkles activated, you know, the energy.
It was a catalyst.
She came out to play. Akume came out to play.
Akume came out to play. But now.
Oh man. Alright guys. We out. Peace.